So last month, I said that when we bless the new month, we do it the Shabbat before the month starts. That Shabbat is called Shabbat Mevorchim. So that's today. So first I'm going to read from the Siddur, and we're going to bless the new month, which starts next Thursday. You bless the Shabbat on the Shabbat. We bless the month on the Shabbat before it starts, because anything from that Shabbat moves forward. It can carry the blessing of a Shabbat into the new month, just like we carry the blessing of a Shabbat into a new week. May it be your will, Lord our God and God of our fathers, to renew for us this coming month for good and for blessing. Grant us long life, a life of peace, a life of goodness, a life of blessing, a life of sustenance, a life of physical health, a life marked by reverence for heaven and dread of sin, a life without shame or disgrace, a life of wealth and honor, a life in which we have love for the Torah and reverence for heaven, a life in which our heart's desires are fulfilled by good. Amen. Selah. Amen. May he... They got lots of it here. Hold on. Hold your applause to the end. May he who performed miracles for our ancestors and redeemed them from slavery to freedom redeem us soon and gather our dispersed people from the four corners of the earth, so that all Israel may be united in friendship, and let us say, Amen. The new month of Av will occur on the 5th day of the week. May it come to us and all of Israel for good. May the Holy One, blessed be he, renew us this month for us and for all his people, the house of Israel, for life and peace, gladness and joy, salvation and consolation. Let us say, Amen. Amen. So, if you recall, we've been in the month of Tammuz, was very filled with heated feelings. In that month, on the 17th of Tammuz, if you recall, there was a fast where we begin a mourning period, which lasts 3 weeks. The Ha-Metzarim Da'ir, the dire straits, or between the straits. So imagine a people's enemies chasing them and forcing them between this crevice, between mountains, whatever, and you're like squeezed in through this time. So these 3 weeks, from the 17th of Tammuz to the upcoming 9th of Oz, these are the dire straits. This is a time of intense mourning, and we mourn for a few things: the destruction of the second temple, Aaron's death, and that the Lord declares that the consequences for listening to the spies. So remember, if you remember, I said that there was a tribe, a letter, and like an action for each month. So this month, we have the tribe of Simeon. We have the letter Tet. I wrote it down 3 times because there's like several different ways to write Hebrew letters, and I just couldn't decide which one would make the most sense to you, because I think they all look really different from each other. But it's the 9th letter, and then hearing or listening. So the consequences of listening to the spies was everything that we're mourning right now. People being sent out of Jerusalem, the temple being destroyed, all of this. So the Shabbat before the 9th of Av is Shabbat Chazon, or the Shabbat vision. The 9th of Av, again, is where the fasting happens again in the end of the 3 weeks. And we read Isaiah 1, where there's the vision that talks about, you did what you shouldn't do, and I'm going to punish you, but there's consequences, but hope is coming. Always hope. We're always invited to teshuvah, always invited to come back. And then immediately after that is another Shabbat. It's a special Shabbat where we read again, where God invites his people, gives them hope, draws them back near to him. So these 3 weeks are over, and then starts the Shiva de Nekma, the 7 weeks, or the 7 Sabbaths of comfort. So it's really sad and filled with mourning until the 9th of Av. Then we fast and we turn to God, and then starts 7 weeks of joy and celebration and dancing and just filled with comfort and hope after this season of destruction. So then we get to transition into that comforting season. And the 15th of Av is a holiday. It's kind of Valentine's Day-ish. It's filled with love and dancing. Girls will they'll go dancing in the vineyards in their white linen, hoping to meet a fella. Because you haven't been allowed to really plan weddings or cut your hair or whatever. So this is kind of a celebration day. I think that's most of that. Yep. So Av means father. So you would call it the month of Av. But then once you reach the ninth, they would switch and call it Menachem Av, which is comfort of the father, just to acknowledge that once you reach that midpoint of the month, now we're being comforted by the Father even after this time of mourning and sadness. And even in the mourning, there's always supposed to be this hope. The Father says, this is what's going to happen to you, but it's so that you come back to me. And that's kind of it there's a lot more, but trying to keep it condensed so I don't overwhelm anyone with all of my scattered things. So that's it. Thursday night at our house, we'll talk about mourning, and we'll talk about moving into, taking our mourning and sitting with one another as we mourn, and we'll talk about how we can move that into joy going forward. So that's on Thursday at 7 o'clock at my house.